Hey there, sports fans. It is Reaction Tuesday. We don't take
Oh, yeah.
just 24 hours to process our emotions. We take 48 hours, and today is a tale of two fan bases
Very true.
represented by your favorite co-hosts.
Exactly.
And you could
We
probably tell real quick
definitely
who's happy and who is really questioning the fate of the world.
everything right. But believe me, I understand. I know what the other side of this feels like.
For the first time since 1990, the Vanderbilt Commodores have taken down the LSU Tigers, and they did it in dominant fashion from start to finish. They pretty much controlled the ball game, Darren. Kudos to Clark Lee and his staff. Diego, LSU didn't have an answer for him.
No.
It was a no doubt win, a resounding win for Vanderbilt.
I tell you, one of the things, removing the opponent for just a second, one of the things that really impressed me, or was a moment that stood out to me as a Vanderbilt fan, and I've heard other people in commentary talk about it. At the end of the first half, when they went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it, gave the ball over on downs, in LSU territory, then typically that's the moment. In years past, that's the moment as a Vanderbilt fan when you're sitting around opining the loss. You go, well, if we just had punted, at the end of the half, everything would have been. But instead, what this team did was hold LSU to a field goal instead of a touchdown, and then drive down and get a field goal themselves, and really evened that whole thing out. That is a moment that does not exist in Vanderbilt teams of the past. That was really a moment where you saw a lot about this team, and we also learned a lot about Clark Lee because later on the game, 4th and 1, close to the 50, but still in LSU territory, he went for it again. So there were some really kind of culture identifying moments in this game, in addition to obviously enjoying the victory against a top 10 team. But there were some real incredible moments for this Vanderbilt team during this game.
A couple of moments that stood out for me is Vanderbilt overcoming that. Well, it looked like a sack on Nussmeier. He tosses the ball out. Xavier Thomas catches it,
Yeah.
breaks some tackles. It's one of those
Oof.
fluke plays that you think,
Yep.
okay, the tide, well, not the tide. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Um, things
Yeah.
are trending in LSU's direction
Yeah.
if they
There you
really
go.
get it together and pull out. Vanderbilt bounced back from that. A
Yeah.
second moment for me, at least, was you brought up Clark Lee being willing to go for it on 4th and 1. He was going for the win.
Yeah.
With 3:12 left in the game, Brian Kelly elected to punt the ball. Now,
Great point.
they had two timeouts. I think maybe even the 2-minute timeout was still on the board. If they don't get the fourth down, Vanderbilt's pretty much right there in field goal range, which a field goal would seal the game at that point
Hmm.
because it'd make it a 2-score game. But a 1-score game, he elects to punt with 3:12 left, and I don't know what he was thinking, Darren. LSU
Yeah.
defense had not stopped Vanderbilt or Diego all game.
Yeah. And, one of the things that went through my head during that is he's talked a lot about Nussmeier's swagger. We need him to have swagger. We need him to act like that's a moment that kind of screams, "Don't believe in this offense." I don't think you can gunsling us through this. I don't think this offense can. And of course, now some of that has to do with the offensive line. It's not just a Nussmeier thing. I don't think you can lay this game on Nussmeier. Just throw that out there. I think he had a better game. Offensive line was an issue, but still, I think you tell your offense that you really don't believe in them, which has been the struggle, I think, all year long for this team.
Yeah, it was very apparent that Vanderbilt has a lot more confidence than LSU at this point.
I agree. And I mean, in all seriousness, removing the fact that we're saying that about LSU, and I know that's very painful, and I appreciate that. But really, honestly, even during the James Franklin years, I don't know how many times you could say this team went out wanting to win, going for the win because they thought they could win, and this team had more confidence. I don't know how many times you've been able to say that about Vanderbilt, period. No matter who they're playing, not just an LSU thing, no matter who they're playing.
We've talked before about the culture that Clark Lee is building at Vanderbilt. LSU at the time of the game was a top 10 team. Vanderbilt had not beaten LSU since 1990. And when they do, it was like they expected to. There was no storming the field. It was
Right.
like we fully expected to win this game. To me, that was a perfect picture of the culture that Clark Lee is crafting at Vanderbilt.
And you know, he talks a lot about ignoring the outside noise. We have to control what we do in our building with our team, but also at the same time, to your point exactly, I think it also showed that very much showed what they are doing and what he is doing that is now starting to control that outside noise as well. Because I mean, as a long time Vanderbilt fan, I remember the field being stormed because of a victory over South Carolina, breaking an SEC losing streak, and there being a standoff between security and the student body. You know, all 18 that were there and stormed the field at that time because things were rough. There was a standoff because at the time Tennessee Oilers were playing the next day, so they couldn't have the field goals be torn down. So that was, you beat a South Carolina that was sub 500 because it broke a winning or a losing streak, and people stormed the field. So we've come a long way from that for sure.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you and all the Vanderbilt fan base. Rewarded with now a top 10 ranking.
Yeah, top 10 and game day coming to Nashville, which is absolutely incredible. And a little bit of the upside down crazy world that is this year. Missouri and Vanderbilt playing in Nashville, and it's a sports center or a game day coming to town, and it's a top 15 matchup. Both teams are in the top 15. That's that's a little crazy. I mean, we just want to be honest. That's
It's
a
like
little
a
crazy.
football version of Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's right. Whoop, upside down. For sure. But I will say this: I do just want to throw this out since we are back to the game.
All right, how many more
Just,
butts are you going to have in this segment?
just just this one. So impressed, so impressed with this team, with Diego Pavia, the maturity with which he approached this game. He did not practice kneeling out the game during the warm ups. He approached it with much more maturity and a little bit more humility, which was good to see. And proud of how this team did everything on the field. It was a really, really very sorry it was LSU at LSU's expense, but it was a really incredible moment for a Vanderbilt team and a Vanderbilt community.
Well, the LSU fan base is happy to bolster the Nashville economy that day, even though
Yeah,
the Commodores were not very gracious hosts, sending the Tigers home with a loss and putting them all the way from 10 to 20 in the latest
yeah.
polls.
That was quite
So
the draw.
thanks a lot, Diego.